everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you step by step how to paint this impressionistic water lilies painting. We're working on an 11 by 14 canvas using a flat brush, a little bit of water, neon pink, white, and light purple violet. Beginning with pink, I'm going to spread it across the center, back and forth, get a little bit more paint and some water. Keep pulling and blending that paint. Now every time I pick up more paint, I'm getting some water at the same time. This just helps to loosen that paint off your brush and spread it around better. A scoop of purple, white, and pink. I've got quite a bit of paint on my brush that I'm going to start pulling around and blending. Now I'm going to go in all different directions. And I'm going to continue to pick up a little bit of paint, either the pink, the purple, or the white, or all three of them, whatever you like, and just fill in the rest of the canvas. We don't want to overblend too much. We don't want it to all be the same color. Okay, I think we're ready for the next step. Just finish up this edge a little bit, and then I'm going to switch over to my light ultramarine blue right here, get a little bit on the end of my flat brush, a little bit of white, and I'm going to start laying in the patterns in the water. So I'm going to work up to ripples and reflections, create a little bit of light and movement. So sliding my brush back and forth really quickly and then softly blending. I'm just going to squeeze out a little bit more of this paint, get it on the tip of my brush with some more white, and continue with this same technique back and forth really quickly with the brush. And then up and down quickly to make it look blurry. And then I'll come in and create all these little wiggles by quickly wiggling my brush side to side, sometimes with more white on one corner of my brush, and sometimes with a little bit more blue. And sometimes it's picking up the paint I have underneath and taking it off. So right there on the left side, you can see how it took some of the pink off and left it looking white, which is kind of nice. I didn't mean for that to happen, but I like the way it looks. Now once I have enough of these little ripples and lines and light in the water, I'm going to switch over to a small filbert brush. You can use a round brush for the next step as well. I'm going to be working on little dabs and dots for some cherry blossoms, maybe hanging over the water. I'm picturing a cherry blossom tree above and a branch kind of hanging down low just over the water, and those little buds and cherry blossoms are kind of touching the water. So I'm going to scoop up equal parts of white and pink and just start dabbing. Lots and lots of dabs. I've got lots of paint on the end of my brush to work with here, as you can see. Now you can do little dabs, and then sometimes you can push a bit harder to make your little flowers look a bit bigger. And I'm going to take more pink and come in here with a little bit more of that color. And maybe we'll add some reflections from those cherry blossoms in the water. So I'm going to pull and slide my brush back the same way I did using that flat brush. So back and forth quickly, and then back to more dabs. I'll scoop up a little bit of that ultramarine blue that I've got there, my light ultramarine blue, and a little bit of white. So we'll use all these same colors for the water and the flowers. And then you can do some individual petals and make a few of your flowers a little bit more detailed. All those little dabs just look like the flowers in the background kind of blurry, and then you can come in and do some other ones like this that stand out from all of that. So I'm going to pour out a little bit of black, take my liner brush, mix it with some water and some neon pink. I'm going to add some little skinny branches, and I'm working wet on wet, meaning the paint underneath is still wet, so I'm picking up all those colors along with the black as I'm pulling it through. This way you get some natural highlights. You're just pulling them in. So just keep pulling and wiggling and twisting your brush, and you can pick up a little bit more water at times too to make them look a little bit faded and not so dark and distinct. Now I'm going to start adding some shadow on some of these flowers here. We need some of this dark color in here, almost like a pink with black and white, creating a dusty rose, almost a little bit brown in some areas, and then we'll come in and add some highlights on some of these branches. So we just need some of these midtones, a little bit of gray. Washing my brush off and switching over back to my filbert, I'm going to add some more flowers, dabbing with the white. I'll scoop up some pink and add a little bit more, and if you pick up a little bit of black in there, that's okay too. The nice thing about working with acrylic is that it dries really fast, so you can cover up all those little accidents or mistakes that you've made quite quickly and easily. And because the paint is thick, you can even just scrape it off too and then apply a new layer right away. Let's pull our brush back and forth, sliding it quickly to make those little lines using the white and a little bit of blue. You can pick up a little bit of pink too, that's okay. As long as we've got all these colors. I just don't want to add any black in the water for reflection. Back to some more flower petals. So it's a process of just building up flower after flower and then reflections. I think the painting looks really nice just like this, but I started envisioning some water lilies and I decided to go with it and incorporate some of my neon orange as well, mixing it with a titanium white to get this soft peachy color that looks really pretty. All these colors are very nice together. You can't go wrong with a bit of peach and pink and this light ultramarine blue, which looks like a light bluey purple as well, so they're all very complementary. And we'll have some reflections and ripples in the water using the orange and the white as well. For the next little while, I'm going to be repeating the same techniques, just building up all these flowers, little ripples, highlights in the water. You guys can all see what I'm doing. It's the same thing as before, so I'm going to just be a little quiet for the next few minutes and let you guys sit back and watch this. And then I'll come in with a little bit of turquoise in just a few short minutes. With my liner brush, I'm taking just a little bit of that neon orange, white, and the light ultramarine blue, and what it does is surprisingly makes a light, almost like a minty turquoisey color. I think it's because this neon orange is very, very warm. It has a lot of yellow in it, and yellow and blue make green, so that's something for you guys to know about. It makes a really pretty color. So before I add the turquoise, that's what I've done here, and that's what I'm doing, and then adding a little bit more of the peach color that I made with orange and white. When I do add these little wiggles and highlights and vines, I'm using a very small liner brush, and just very barely touching the canvas with any pressure at all, just wiggling, and then you can add a few little dots to some of the center of your flowers as well. You can use a little bit of black if you want, white, blue, and I'm going to take, without washing my brush off, turquoise and white, and start adding this in here. And this is when I really get excited about the painting, because those complementary colors start to kick in and pop and bringing this painting to life. Look how pretty that looks together. So I begin to slowly start adding some lily pads and a glow around what will eventually be the impressionistic water lilies. So I hope you guys enjoy watching this, and I'll be back in a couple minutes to explain more of my process. I'm going to take some yellow. You can use any cool yellow that you have. I've got a cadmium yellow, cool, mixing with turquoise and white, and this will just make another shade of green, which is really pretty. It almost glows. It's almost kind of like a neon shade, and I'm adding a little bit here and there to the water, the vines, and wherever else you see. I'm going to take my filbert brush with a little bit of white and any other color that you want. You can use just white for now, and just do soft little circles. You don't want to have very much paint on your brush for this. You want to add it on and then softly blend around to give the little bit of a glow around each of these dots. And this just kind of makes it look like the water lilies have a soft light about them, almost like they're little lanterns on the water, giving this painting a little bit of whimsy and magic. And I just like the mood that it sets to this painting, and I hope you guys like it too. So we're just doing one at a time here. I'm going to pick dark spots on the painting to add this light to in these water lilies. That makes the most sense. That's where they're really going to show up. So we'll sneak one right over there in that pink area, and with a little bit of yellow and black, I'm going to make green. So any yellow you have with black will work for this. I'm going to slide my brush and wiggle underneath to create a little impressionistic looking lily pad. It's very easy to do. I'm now going to take a little bit of turquoise and add a little highlight, so just little lines and soft pulling on the tip of my brush, little bit here and there. You can pick up a little bit of yellow with white and add that for some color too. I'm going to add some more dabs and orbs and water lilies with yellow and white. So I'll continue doing that same technique, dabbing and then softening all around in little quick circles. And back to my black and yellow for some lily pads underneath. And then maybe a little reflection right underneath, little wiggles. So I'm going to add a little bit of green right under some of those lily pads, and then with a clean brush, get a bit of white, light ultramarine blue, a very, very thin layer, and blend it in some areas just to soften up a little bit more, and just to make some areas look hazy and a little bit blurry. A bit more black right under here to define it and have a bit more contrast. It's important to know that if you have a lot going on, especially in a painting like this where we have lots of lines and dabs and dots, that we have some areas that are just very soft and very blurry looking. Otherwise there can be too much going on, but because we're using a lot of the same colors in this, it all looks really nice together. I'm going to gently pull and flick right down here, barely touching the canvas, and then wiggle and slide across, making it look like it's a reflection in the water. So this changes the painting quite a bit. It's gone from looking like there are flowers in the foreground now to reflections in the water. I'll come in with my liner and some more black paint to create some dangling little branches. Maybe they're just kind of hanging over the water there. And it's okay if you have one idea at the beginning of a painting and then it evolves into something else. It really does take on a life of its own when you're working from your imagination, and that's what's fun, because you never know what you're going to get. It's ever changing, and it keeps you thinking, it keeps your mind creating. So you can create little tiny dabs here with the end of your filbert brush for some impressionistic looking petals on these lilies. I'm using orange and white right now. And then sometimes I'm using a little bit more white. I'll add a few little wiggles right below for a reflection in the water. Add a little bit more turquoise right here. Now I'm going to add a little bit of light ultramarine blue. It's going to be a little bit of a shadow. I'm going to add a little bit more blue and then some turquoise right in here, softly blending, and then some turquoise right along the edge here, blend it out. A little bit more blue. I'm liking the way the blue is layering over the hot pink in the background. I'll add some little reflections, some more highlights and shadows, and then I'll call this painting all done. So this painting and tutorial is exclusively for you patrons. I want to thank you so much for supporting me each and every month, not only here but on YouTube as well. It means a lot to me, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a like and comment below if you learned something new today or just got inspired. So thanks so much for watching, and I will see you next time very soon in a new video.